What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are staying safe, staying quarantined, staying sane. Just stay safe, you guys. So we received our first question from Jerry in the last comment section for the ASBOG Fundamentals of Geology exam. And basically, what he said is he can't seem to understand where they give the map followed by 8 to 10 questions. Any help would be grateful. Thanks. Thank you, Jerry, for your question. So, first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and recommend 3 books. There's this one, which is Geological Maps. I use this one to prepare for the exam. It gives you a ton of problems to work out. It's basically a workbook. Very good book to use. Good field preparation book if you're about to enter geology. Another one is obviously the Reg Review book. This one is chock full of problems, practice problems. They give you the answer in the back of the book. They show you how to work it out in the back of the book. It's Reg Review. You got to have it for the FG, in my opinion. I mean, I guess you don't have to have it, but to me, it was very crucial to me passing. And then the practice exams that come with the the Reg Review book. The problem that we'll be going over today, that is about the difficulty level that you'll face on the exam. These practice questions in the Reg Review are actually much more difficult than what you'll see on the exam. So if you're scoring well on these, which is about 110 questions, it prepares you to take the exam. These questions are much more difficult, but they give you an idea of what to kind of expect on this exam. So the first thing is we'll read the story of Corner Bay, Explorer Joe, Professor of History, Corner State University, Bay Delta. Okay, so most of that paragraph, I would say, is jargon. It's BS. You can eliminate most of it. There was some interesting, useful things in that paragraph. They tell you that Glen Peak is a mountain, and you'll see why that's an important aspect. But the soils that form, the usage of the land, that's not that important. But I mean, it kind of gives you a general idea of the area. That's the point of that whole story. And then you have your geologic units. You have your geologic map. One thing I like to point out is, they're talking about Glen Peak. It's where Z is, which is the zebra complex, and then X is your X-ray granite. R is your running limestone, running ridges limestone. P is the pink eye mudstone, and then you have your R, and then that's probably why they're called running ridges, because they keep repeating. That's indicative of something. You have H, which is the most recent unit. So basically, when you're doing these problems, you want to start mentally determining what's oldest, what's youngest. And actually, the first question is, what is the correct stratigraphic column for the Corner Bay area, oldest on the bottom and youngest on the top? So you're doing a stratigraphic column. You should do this regardless if it actually asks for it or not. It's important to know what's oldest and what's youngest. And on the exam, I believe they give you a set of colored pencils. At least for mine, they did. But you should bring colored pencils if that helps you in terms of coloring in certain geologic units. Okay, so what is the youngest? So the first thing is you look at the geologic units. What do you think is the oldest? So when you read through these, you determine that, the bottom one, zebra complex. When you read the description, it sounds like it's a metamorphic rock. And then you read right above that, it's the X-ray granite. And it says probably Precambrian because it's probably the lowest in the section. So you have to determine which one do you think is the oldest of those two. And granite is typically intrusive. It probably metamorphosed the zebra complex. The zebra complex sounds like it was there before the granite intruded. So I would say that unit Z is the oldest. And you do an elimination. So which ones don't have Z? Okay. We've eliminated 2. So, okay, next thing. H is one of the youngest. We don't know, how old S is. So we can't really eliminate based on that. But we can, okay, so beeswax. B, Mississippian. That's a Paleozoic rock. Pink eye, mudstone, Jurassic. Jurassic is much younger than Mississippian. If you know your geologic timescale, it helps. It's very beneficial. Pink eye should be above B, so P should be above B, and it looks like both of these are correct. Let's read that description a little more in depth. This grades into the Running Ridges limestone, P to R directly. So there's no separate unit between them. So P should grade into R. And that C is the only answer that that has that orientation, that order for you. So I would say that that's the correct answer, C. So number 38 is deep exploration holes drilled at the quarry in the X-ray granite. And if you look at the map, the X-ray quarry is right here. So you're drilling right there into the quarry. It's demarcated by those 2 pickaxes like that on the lower right portion of the map, or southeastern portion of the map, according to the compass. Okay, anyways. So deep exploration holes drilled at the quarry in the X-ray granite, Unit X, intersected the Running Ridges limestone, Unit R. Based on this drill hole data, what is the best interpretation of the Unit R, Unit X contact? So first and foremost, Unit R and Unit X, there's a lot of missing time between those. Unit R is approximately Jurassic, maybe Cretaceous in age. And Unit X is Precambrian. There is a large time gap between those two. So basically what helps, okay, so it helps to visualize this. So on the map, when you look at the map, the closest strike and dip you have is it's dipping 9 degrees to the southeast. So it's in the M unit, but it's in that Running Ridges between those repeating rocks, and that's actually indicative of a fault when you see repetition of beds like that. So it helps to draw it out to visualize it. You don't have to do a complex cross section to scale. You just gotta kind of visualize it. So basically you have say this is the contact between X and R, and this is from a cross-sectional view. R is outcropped right here, right? And then you have X, and I should be using different colors. But anyway, say the quarry is right here. And no, I'm not an artist, but say they drill, and they drill right here. So basically, they're asking, okay, you intersect R with when you drill into X, and you have an older rock on top of a younger rock, that's indicative of a thrust fault. So that would be the answer to this one, is a thrust fault. And if you don't understand that, ask further questions. But just draw it out. That will help you significantly for this particular question. So we're on to question. I'm gonna open that up. That helps. Question 39. So it's asking the contact between the Holiday Formation, which is H, and the beeswax sandstone, which is B. You can see that off in this this delta plane, or this coastal plain right here. It's asking what type of contact do you think that is, and so you have tilted beds, slightly tilted. Oh, wow, never mind. That's not slightly. It's hard to read. It's actually a 31 dip, dipping to the northeast and striking to the southwest. That's a significant dip. And what that tells you is that the contact between these two, you have an angular contact, because the beeswax is tilted at 31 degrees, and at 30 degrees on the other side. There's a fold going on over here. It looks like an anticline. But then you have your surface, and this is B. You have your contact, right, between H, which is the youngest in the section, well, one of the youngest rocks or geologic units in this section. You have B. B is tilted at 31 degrees, and I'm not going to draw it with a protractor or anything, but I'm just going to show that it's tilted bedding, right? And it's in contact with, I believe that's basically coastal sediments. What was it? Tidal flats, I believe. Tidal materials. Let me see. Oh, well. Yeah, anyways, yeah, so it's in contact with that material, and because below that, it's an unconformity, below that the beds are tilted, and then they're eroded, and then you have this new material deposited over it that's an angular unconformity, so it's D. The answer is D. Okay. So number 40. The quarry located in the X-ray granite is a dimension stone quarry. This suggests that the X-ray granite is, and this is, I know nothing about dimension stone other than I have granite countertops, right? So would I want a granite in my countertop that has been highly fractured, deeply weathered, or has closely spaced joint sets, which is basically the same as B, highly fractured and joint sets? Do I want either of those in my granite countertops? No. You want a granite that is massive and unfractured. So A is the answer for that particular question. I'll pop up the answer key that's actually in the Candidate Handbook, which I recommend you download. Go through those questions. That's about the difficulty level that you'll see on the actual exam, except you'll see different questions. Every FG exam has a different focus. Like, you'll see geomorphology, but it could be about glacial geomorphology, which is a lot of terminology, especially if you didn't study it. You could have fluvial, you could have aeolian. I mean, you just got to kind of prepare for terminology and stuff. But let me know, Jerry, if this answers your question. Let me know in the comment section. Thank you.